Hey guys, welcome back to another snapshot video. Today we got a couple tweaks to the armor trim feature that was introduced last week, both in regards how we can combine materials and colors, but also in regards to obtaining the smithing template. In general, it's made a little bit easier, it's more common, so it's easier to find. But we also get this. You can now swap easily between, for example, your elytra and your chest plate by just right-clicking the armor in your hotbar. Previously, it wasn't possible to swap between, so you could only equip, for example, chest plate if you had no chest plate equipped. Now you can easily swap in between. It's also nice to check out which armor suits you the best and so on. So that's also really nice. And technically you can now have your elytra also in the hotbar. If you have a slot left open or your chest plate, and always swap in between armor and elytra. Guess that's kind of neat. I could definitely already see players with board armor spamming all the time. But enough of that. What else is new? So in this snapshot we can now also combine for example, gold armor with gold armor trim. And basically every base material that has an armor trim of the same material can be combined as well now. So you can combine netherite with netherite ingot, iron armor with the iron ingot, and so on. So that's all possible now. Let's check it out. You need to put in our template as usual. Then gold chest plate here and the gold ingot. Okay. In hindsight, don't even know why this wasn't possible last week, because it still looks a little bit different, and why not have it? So we can now do that as well. Additionally, we can now also put armor trim on leather armor, and this really opens endless possibilities. I actually looked it up in the wiki. There is 5 or over 5 million color combinations when it comes to the leather armor. So you can put all kinds of dyes in there, combine it with multiple dyes, and over 5 million combinations when it comes to the color alone. And then, of course, 110 combinations of the armor trims as well. So over 500 million different combinations possible of leather armor. There we go. Custom pants. There's also a further change to the enchantment glint. It was made even more subtle now, and I think this time they actually took it too far. So I got 2 pickaxes here in inventory, those two, and at a glance you can't even see which the enchanted one is. Spoilers, it's the one on the right. You can barely see it. Slowly it flashes a little bit, but even if you have it equipped, it's kind of hard to tell which one is enchanted. Okay, now you can see it, but if I swap now, can't even tell it's enchanted at all, only if it flashes a little bit. Okay, right now, hardly any difference. So either they have further plans with this, or keeping it like that, I don't think will be acceptable. So I think they should maybe revert this a little bit again. Another example why it's too subtle is actually the notch apple. So there's hardly any difference between the normal golden apple and the enchanted golden apple in the inventory now. Next, let's talk about obtaining the smithing template items that you need to make the armor trim. So in general, there will be more smithing template loot in the structures now. So the first change is in the jungle temple, shipwreck, pyramid, and pillager outpost. If you find a smithing template in a chest, there will always be 2 now instead of 1. So you still have the 20% chance that there's a smithing temple, for example, in a pillager outpost chest, but there's just 2 in there instead of 1. And according to the patch notes, the intention is to teach the players that you use one of those smithing templates, they will be used up. So some people might get the wrong impression that it's just an item you need to provide to create the armor trim that doesn't get used up. If you have 2, then it's easy to see, hey, this is getting used up, still have 1 left. Maybe you should actually consult the wiki to see how that actually works. It's how you play Minecraft. I also searched for a jungle temple to confirm this change, and I got lucky, found a chest with some wild armor trim inside. So there are 2 templates also not stacked on top of each other, which I found interesting. So this change that you get double was only made for like the beginner structures. So there's usually not that many hard mobs to fight when it comes to the shipwreck, or the jungle temple, or the desert pyramid. In case of the pillager outpost, there can of course be some pillagers around, but those are like 4 beginner structures, I guess, that should teach the player about those templates. Also, in general, the smithing templates have been made more common in the loot chests according to the patch notes, and especially the netherite upgrade has been made more common in the Bastion loot chest. What I actually failed to mention last week was that you always have a 100% chance to find a netherite upgrade in the treasure room loot chest here. So the treasure room is the structure here with the gold blocks in the middle of the Bastion. Mojang also acknowledged that there's a bit of a problem with the stronghold structure, the fact there's only 128 at most per world, and you're finding the eye armor trim smithing template. So before it was actually possible, since there are only 128, you get especially unlucky on all the loot chests and never find any eye armor trim. I guess the chance would be in the millions, but definitely would have been a possibility without this guaranteed drop that you can only find in the library loot chest. So there's also sometimes 2 chests, so you can have guaranteed 2 eye armor trim smithing template drops here. But of course, as far as I know, in case the terrain doesn't allow it, it can also happen that no library room generates in all 128 strongholds. And then you still wouldn't get any. Maybe the chances in the billions for that to happen, but I'm also not sure if that would actually be the case. Mojang also greatly increased the chances of getting the Vex armor trim smithing template from the Woodland Mansion loot chest, because according to patch notes, Mojang wants to make it about finding a single Woodland Mansion to get your Vex armor trim, so it shouldn't be required to find 5 of them, because it usually involves a lot of traveling. So I think overall, all of the changes in the snapshot were definitely reasonable. Mojang addressed some of the concerns of the players, but I still don't get why we don't have more than 128 strongholds per world. Does it really matter if you go out 10,000 or 100,000 blocks? If there's a stronghold or not? Or why should you travel back to spawn to get to a stronghold if you're really that far out in the world? So why not just generate the strongholds everywhere in the world? That's all for today. Hope you guys enjoyed watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.